Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining me on another edition of Let's Talk Business with me, Suzette. So normally, I have Let's Talk Business on Thursdays. However, I have something to do tomorrow, so I rescheduled for today. And tonight, I am going to be joined by Mika Jones. Mika is a serial entrepreneur. She is out here doing big things. She is the owner of DIY Boss, which is a graphic and web design branding company. She is also the co-owner of DLUXE Gala and photo booths. Okay, so she's gonna be joining us today to be talking about her businesses and her entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so Tamika is a mom and she's out here doing it and running multiple businesses. So it's not impossible, guys. I'm sure it's not easy, but it is doable. Okay, so gonna wait for Tamika to join me. In the meantime, I'm having my confidence building workshop this Sunday, March 19th. Hey, Tamika.
Hey,
Say hey to Mika's window. Nice to meet you. So guys, before we get started, I am having the confidence building workshop this Sunday at 1 o'clock inside the Selfie Studio Toronto. I've been there. It's an awesome place. It's a great place to talk about confidence building and take a whole bunch of selfies. Tamika's going to be there with her awesome booth, okay? And we're going to get started right now. So thanks so much, Tamika, for joining me. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Again, I know you were one of my first ones like 2 years ago. Yeah. So since then, you have started multiple businesses. We'll get started on that in a bit. So just kind of introduce yourself to everyone and tell everyone what it is that you do.
Okay, so I do lots of things, but so first I'm a web designer. I started doing web design back in 2016. And then more recently, my partner and I decided to start a photo booth business back in October, so it's still a baby. And then we had our first event, which is an extension of DLUXE photo booths, which is called DLUXE Gala, and that is a business networking event. And we did that January 29th, yeah. So
January 29th. Okay, so guys, I told you already, serial entrepreneur. Actually, Tamika and I went to school. Was it Brooks Road? We went to elementary school together. Okay, so that was decades ago, and we reconnected. I think I saw you at the mall. I think I bumped into you at Scarborough Town Center, and then we started following each other online. And she's doing amazing things. Awesome web designer. Okay, so we'll talk about that because even that, your branding is like on point. Like you come up with these designs, I'm like, wow, that's so nice. So let's kind of like backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about the first business, your DIY Boss. Okay, so your website design and branding. How long ago did you start that?
So I started that in 2016 officially. Because I had been making my own websites. Because I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done all the things. I've tried every business out there you could possibly think of. So it wasn't my first time creating websites, but I was doing hair care at the time. So I had a natural hair care line, and I created my own website with that. And people started asking like, hey, can you do my website? Or who did your website? Who did your branding? Who did your pictures and stuff like that? And labels and this and that. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe I can like make a business out of this. So I started in 2016 with that. I've been doing that ever since. I still do that. That's my bread and butter. So yeah, that's when it started.
So you're a full-time entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right?
Full-time.
Awesome. Okay. All right. And how long have you been full-time for?
Oh, gosh, I don't even know. Like I've tried to dibble and dabble back into the workforce like years ago.
Yeah.
But it's just not for me.
It's like, listen, man, I find that it's either like some people can do both and they have a hard time positioning, and then you have some people like us who are like, you can't do it. And then you just up and leave and you're like, okay, I don't want to look back. And I find in a way that it pushes you more because you know that you're not comfortable in the sense that if you don't work, you don't have that consistent income coming in. Like you don't have it. So you can't just decide that, okay, I'm going to call in sick today. You can't do that when it's your business, right? So congratulations to you and your business. It's amazing. I love the designs. You've done a lot of very popular in Toronto people's designs. You did Read Balloons and Who's the makeup girl?
Trobel,
What's her name? Trobel. Yes, Trobel.
Mickey
Yes, yes, yes,
Smith,
yes.
you know, I
Like,
have a few under my belt, you
they
know.
are. Yes, yes, yes. He's on Trey Arts' website too.
Yeah.
Like, you're out here doing amazing things. So you did web design, all right? So you're self-taught,
Yes.
essentially? You're
Yeah.
self-taught, okay. Because you were
Yeah.
doing it yourself and then you can, okay, good. So then how did you segue into doing deluxe photo booths and DLUXE Gala? Because it's kind of the same thing, kind of, sort of, not really. So how did you kind of expand into doing that?
Well, my partner, he's also a full-time entrepreneur. So he's a personal trainer. He has a line of jump ropes, like luxury jump ropes.
Oh, nice.
So we both work from home. And we recently had a baby. Between the two of us, there's 5 kids.
Oh,
So
wow.
we believe,
Baby,
yeah,
five.
5.
Wait,
So,
baby.
you know, we're trying to, he came up with the idea of like, you know, let's get into the events industry. Because as you know, we were on lockdown for like, what, 2 years, 2.5, I don't know how long it was. It felt like forever. But he was like, you know, he's home. He has his classes at designated times. So he felt like, you know, let's try something else. And me, I'm like, I don't know about that. You know, like I have a lot of things to do already. But, you know, when he has an idea, I'm the one that usually implements. So we just kind of like brainstormed a little bit. Well, what kind of things can we do in the event space? And he was like thinking rentals, like event rentals. So then I, you know, went on YouTube, started Googling, or not Googling, YouTubing things. And I was like, oh, what about these photo booths? Like we just went to a wedding and there was a photo booth there and it did the little printouts and it was like nice and sleek. I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe we could do that. I wonder how much that costs, right? We were thinking it was like maybe $1,000, $2,000. Girl, boots are not, they are not cheap.
Oh,
It was like, no, they were not. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can get cheap ones,
yeah.
but when you invest in a cheap one, the quality is not as good, right? So
and cheap always costs more money because you have to replace it
exactly.
and fix it, you know, over and over. So.
And not only that, but it's like, I feel like with a premium product, you're able to charge premium prices for one, and then two, you know, you don't want people to not be happy with the results of your photo booth, right? So one of the things we like to do is we do market research, right? So we ask around. He knew somebody that had a photo booth already. He's asked people, have you ever used a photo booth? And, you know, he heard all the different complaints that there were, and it's like, okay, we're going to be the top of top, basically. We're going to get the best photo booth. We're going to have something nobody else has. And we have the only type of photo booth that we have. That's the only one in Canada, period. You know, so it's a brand new photo booth. And, you know, it was a hefty investment, you know, but it was well worth it because I feel like it's like a showstopper. People are just like, oh, I've never seen one like this. You know what I mean? We get that a lot. We've never seen one like this. Oh, the quality of the photos is so good. Oh, I can see myself first. Like, it has a lot of features. So yeah, that's how it got started. It was just an idea. And then I was like, all right, let's put it into action. I'm a web designer. I was like, all right, let me make the website. Let me make the Instagram. Let me put it out there. And we have 2 booths. So we got one. And that's a mirror booth, which is another like showstopper type booth. People really like that one. And we started with that, got the ball rolling. And then, yeah, we got the other one. And then we started doing free events. Like we did a giveaway for free events. And then, yeah, then we realized, wait a minute, if we have our own events, then we can have people see the booth at our own events and they'd want to book us. So that's where the events actually like, you know, birthed from that. Because it's like anytime we went to an event, because we did 2 free events. Our first event, we got booked the very next week for another wedding, full price, right? So we're like, okay, we just need to put the booth in the right places and people are going to want to book the booth. So after doing a lot of, you know, free events, then getting paid, free paid, it was like, okay, maybe we can bring the event to us. And that's why DLUXE Gala came about. So it actually started off with, let's just promote our booth. But then once we did it, it was so much more than just let's promote our booth. The booth was like nothing in comparison to what, you know, really transpired. Like we realized that, wait a minute, this is something we had talked about years ago, wanting to build a networking or a community of entrepreneurs to be able to support them and, you know, help them to network with like-minded individuals. Because as an entrepreneur, it's hard. It's lonely. You know what I mean?
It's very
And
hard.
you want to give up so many times, you know what I mean? Because it's like things don't go right. You invest in things, you may not get a return on your investment sometimes, you know, things fail, and you have to just pick back up and start over. And I'm the one that's always like, should I get a job? And he's like, no, you know what I mean? We're just going to keep going, you know what I mean? So, yeah, once we started DLUXE Gala, we realized, wait a minute, purpose, there's a purpose to this. And we went to an event, his name is Dean Samuels. And his event, he was talking about finding your purpose partner, and his purpose partner is his wife. And then we realized, wait a minute, we're each other's purpose partner. We thought about this long time ago, and now we're actually, it came to pass, and we didn't even intend for it to be that way. We were just trying to get our photo booth out there. And then once we were there in that space, we realized this is what we envisioned years ago and talked about. So now it's like so much bigger than just the photo booth. You know what I mean? We really want to connect people with people and connect entrepreneurs with each other, to kind of just grow and build generational wealth, because it's hard. It's so hard, you know. So
it's very difficult, but when you have, you know, I love the fact that you say you have a partner, right? So not only just like a romantic partner, but a business partner. It makes a huge difference, because as you said, a lot of entrepreneurs, we go through this journey by ourselves. Even for people who are in relationships and their partner may not be an entrepreneur, that could also be another issue in itself, because then you guys may not be on the same page and may not understand why you're working all the time, why you're answering emails at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then because that imbalance, because like you just don't get it. So I love the fact that you guys have each other as a support. That makes a huge difference. So congrats to you. That's really good. That's really good, because a lot of people don't have that. You said a lot of things. So one of the things you mentioned in the beginning, which I was going to ask you, is market research. So you came in during COVID, and there's so many people, especially in Toronto, doing photo booths. So many. And you mentioned we did our market research, guys. Market research, okay? It's not a nerdy thing. It's a needed thing. It's a lot of work, but you did it because you said you were going into an industry. You wanted to know more about it before you made a big investment, right? So one of the things you said you discovered is that, okay, you actually went out and you market research with friends and family to ask them, hey, you know, what were your experiences with other photo booths? And then you said, okay, we're going to solution those problems. Okay? Smart. Because you're getting into a very busy and saturated industry. How do you set yourself apart? And you said that, you know, we are you said the only one in Canada that has your type of photo booth. So that is a selling feature in itself. How do you separate yourself from everybody else? So guys, I hope you have a pen and paper out, because Tamika's out here dropping gems. She is you said 5 kids between both of you guys, right? 5. That's a lot. Okay, so your hands are full. I said 2 in the beginning. I didn't know. So you have 5 kids total, and you know that's another thing too, because you have a partner that makes it a lot more easier in terms of trying to balance everything. How do you balance like life? So you have 3 businesses on the go essentially, and then you have 5 kids to take care of. How do you find that you manage all of that?
There's no balance. No, honestly, that is one of the biggest struggles. Fortunately, I have my mother, and she watches the children, period. Okay, you know, so I've been so glad, and he has his father. So between the 2 of them, whether they're watching them at our house or whether, because for one person to watch all of them at the same time, it's a lot, right? So especially the youngest one is 1, right? So she's very needy. She's still breastfeeding, even though she doesn't need it. She's like, it's like a soother to her right now. So it is a struggle. Like we'll be in the beginning, it's better now, but we'll be at an event and my mom would be calling me and be like, when are you coming home? She's crying. She needs breast milk. Like, Mom, I'm fine, you know? And I'm like an hour away, you know? So it's really, really, really hard. It's a lot of sacrifice. You know, we don't have, there's no, like everything we do is either business or day-to-day life. There's nothing else. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing else. But I feel like because we do it together, it works. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're doing 2 separate things and we're like detached, if you get what I'm saying. So we do this together and we actually enjoy it. We work really, really well together. So that's been a good thing. And in terms of balance, it's hard because the kids have extracurricular activities. So we have a calendar, and we recently started, you know, putting things in the calendar. So it's like, I see, well, this kid has this on this day and this kid has that on that day. And sometimes the kids have events, I'm doing the events, or sorry, the kids have soccer or something and I'm doing the event alone. So it's like, I'll tell him, okay, well, you go set up, and then, you know, in the morning as early as possible, and then I'll show up at the time of the event. So we just kind of like tag team and figure it out day by day. In all honesty, there's no balance. Like, it's just hard. It's really hard. We're still figuring it out. You know, but that's the biggest struggle, really, is balance. And I don't know if I necessarily believe in balance. I feel like when you're trying to grow something, sometimes you just have to sacrifice and put your all into it for that moment, you know. And the kids understand. We talk to them about it. We try to involve them as much as we can in the events or whatever it is we're doing. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's something we're trying to build for them. You know what I mean? So like with our DLUXE Gala, for instance, we were gone all day, but you know, we had my daughter actually participate in the events, you know, so that's the goal, to have them working with us and being in the room when they're at the age when they can, you know, stand being there for 6 hours, you know what I mean? So the two older ones, they're at that age where they can stand being there and they can help. My daughter was so much help. Like, when I tell you, we couldn't have executed it without her, because we really underestimated the amount of time it would take. And let me just say thank you to Sue, because I actually had a consultation with her, because if you guys didn't know, she used to be an event planner, and she was just giving me gems. I had to write down all the things she was telling me, because again, I was new to this. I've never done an event before. So really seeking out help, like book the consult. It was so valuable. Just that 1 hour we had, where she was really telling me, like, in terms of, you know, how to approach sponsorship and different ways. I don't even know. God, you gave me so many things. Delegate. That's another thing too. That was one that was hard, but I did have somebody there to help me. There was just so many things that I wrote down and I was able to implement that you gave me. So really consider, like, I know sometimes we think we know everything, especially like, you know, you've been in business forever and it's like, oh, I know this, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but sometimes it's good to speak to somebody else and bounce ideas, or just, you know, other people know other things. You don't know everything, right? So there was you, and there was another lady named Monique. You guys really helped me when it came to the DLUXE Gala thing. So thank you. Thank you. You're
welcome. Thanks for the shout out. Tamika wrote this beautiful review. I'm always asking people for reviews. You wrote like this encyclopedia for review, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I remember I woke up in the morning and I saw it, and you know, it only showed you one line, and then I clicked on it to read more. I was like, whoa. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to have some coffee before I can read all this. Thank you so much. But you know, that's what I think we strive for, is to help each other, because at the end of the day, it doesn't do me any good to say, like, I'm not going to help her because she's doing an event. No, I want to see you succeed, and you did an amazing job. I heard a lot of good reviews. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it, but I heard a lot of great reviews about it. And then next day, within the next day or 2 days later, I'm like, did she not sleep? She announced the other one. So she's on it, boy. Okay. So guys, when is that coming up? When's the next date? When is
May 13th. May 13th. We gotta ride the wave, because even like the venue books up so fast. Like, people think that you have time, and we thought, like, the first one, it's like we tried to plan it in a month. That wasn't enough time, right? So this time it's like, no, as soon as that one was done, people were like, oh, when's the next one? We're like, okay, we're doing the next one. The wave is there. Let's just ride the wave. And, you know, with the information I got from you, and just now executing one and actually knowing what I need to do, it's still hard, but yeah, like, I feel like you just got to do it. You just got to do it, and you have to ask for help. You know what I mean? You don't know everything. I remember I told you, I don't even know what to ask you. Like, I didn't even know, because you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know what I didn't know, right? But Sue just knows her stuff, man. I didn't have to know what to ask her. She just told me all the things. I was just like, oh, let me get a pen and paper, you know? So you have to ask for help. You have to ask. You will, like, and she's so you're very transparent. So you didn't just let me know about the good. I was prepared for the worst, because you told me what you went through and how difficult it was, and how people wait until the dead last minute to, you know, purchase tickets. So everything that you went through, girl, we experienced. And I was like, she said this would happen, you know what I mean? So I was prepared, and I'm glad that, you know, even though I didn't know what the heck I was going to talk to you about, I decided, okay, no, I need a consultation with her because I know she knows.
Yeah.
And I was just hoping that it was going to be valuable because I really didn't know. But you do not gatekeep. And that's what I was
No.
saying. No gatekeepers allowed. I don't want no gatekeepers in my
No.
circle, in my
No.
network. I
No.
only talk to non-gatekeepers because I'm not a gatekeeper, you know? And that's what I love about you. You're not a gatekeeper.
Aw,
You gave me everything.
thank you. Making people blush and they can't see me, but I'm blushing underneath. No, you know, I'm really big on that because at the end of the day, someone had to teach me and I learned from someone else. So, and you know, you can Google this stuff. A lot of this stuff, anything that you really want to find, you can find it on Google, really and truly. But it's nice when you have someone that you know that has went through it. So I'm very transparent with telling the good and the bad because I think in this society, like people are so focused on my life and I'm so great and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, nope, I have daily meltdowns and, you know, things can be really challenging sometimes. So I don't gatekeep anything because if I ask, I also want to get the good and the bad as well. And knowing the bad helps you to prepare and plan accordingly, right? Whereas if I didn't, then, you know, those last minute tickets, you might have been down and be like, oh, no one's buying tickets. No. People, for some odd reason, the moment you see people like sold out, that's when they all come running. It's like, I've been advertising for a month. Why are you now? That's what people do. That's what people do. And so now I like the fact that you came out earlier now and now you're advertising and like you got everything under order. And even still, you still have to plan for things happening because you never know, you know, something will happen last minute. So one thing you mentioned that I want to circle back on was getting the kids involved. Okay. This is really big because as an entrepreneur, again, as a mother, that's too, but more women because I think kids follow, the responsibility of children follow us more. A lot of us struggle with, you know, feeling guilty of spending so much time in our business and not spend enough time for the kids. And as much as we want to say we're doing it for them, we're doing it for them, you also don't want to focus on growing your business and then leave your kids out of it. And it's like, okay, wow, they're 18. Well, when the time comes by, well, yeah, you're busy building for them, but at the same time, you still need to enjoy them. So I like the fact that you said you incorporated your kids into the business because one, that's teaching them the business, which is another thing that we have to think about. Well, if we're building it for them, we have to show them how to run it. Right? And then at some point, I'm not sure how old's your daughter?
She's 13. Then there's a 12-year-old. Then there's 9-year-olds, and then there's a 1-year-old.
And then, whew, okay, hands full. At least like 3 of them are pretty much big. They can help out something or the other. Like I even had some of my kids package up some of the loot bags last time, the giveaway bags. So finding little ways of having them participate, it shows them, you know, exposes them to the world of entrepreneurship. It also gives them the experience. And then at some point when they're of age, you can actually put them on payroll and pay them a little money, and you know it's tax free and it's a write off and it's beneficial. Now they're happy to be part of the business, right? So I really like the fact that you did that. And you know, events, good luck. Okay, events are, you know, there's nothing to play. There's nothing to play around with. They're a lot of work, but at the same time, if you have people you know to delegation. Okay, I told you that, and I'm glad you did it. As you grow, you'll end up delegating to more people, but delegation is really important, guys, because if you try to do everything yourself, you will overwhelm yourself, you'll get burnt out, and you'll have breakdowns. And I know, been there, done that. I used to have daily breakdowns, okay? They're not too frequent now, but there's still some things that you want to do yourself. But I think that one of the important things is to communicate. So I was going to ask you about that in your relationship with your partner. You say you guys actually get along really well in terms of business and you guys complement each other. What do you think are certain things that helped with that? Like, what are the attributions that help to make you guys have a workable business relationship?
I think that it's because we're so different. You know what I mean? Like, he's the visionary. He comes up with these grand ideas. I'm more of like the worker, the implementer, the like, oh, you have an idea? Let me, you know, get it started. And then just kind of humbling yourself sometimes. You know what I mean? Because there's moments where it's like you can get frustrated because, I don't know, maybe you said something and they didn't pay attention at that time. And then it's like, you know, like just these little things, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, and I thought about this the other day in the car, like no matter what, the vision and it's still the same. Do you know what I mean? Don't let anything block the vision, because there's been little things that have happened. And it's just like, is it worth arguing, or is it worth, do you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is so much bigger than anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you really have a purpose and you have a drive and you have a why, it's like you just have to stop and think and be like, is it worth nitpicking about this? You got to pick your battles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's what I really think it is. And our personalities are very different. I feel like he's an alpha. And I would say that I'm also an alpha female in terms of, like, I have a very strong personality, but I feel like as a woman, not to be like sexy or anything, don't come for me with this disclaimer, don't come for me. But I just feel like, you can't be naggy all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, you have to pick your battles. And there's obviously certain things I do to annoy him. There's certain things he does to annoy me. But at the end of the day, it's like, are we going to sit here and make something so small derail us to the point where it's like we may go to an event and we're unhappy? That's never happened. And I don't think it ever will, because I feel like we're on the same page. And we never even had a conversation about it, but it's just like, he's very good at just like, okay, it's not that serious, and move on, right? Like, we can, like, I'm the one that wants to talk. No, let's talk about this. I'm upset. You know what I mean? But because I'm like that, I feel like I probably have to do more work to kind of like humble myself. And it's not that deep, Mika. Like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Let's go do this event. Let's go. You know what I mean? So I think that's been the biggest thing. And then we communicate a lot. So we talk about things over and over and over again. He thinks I communicate too much, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm okay with that. And he allows me to communicate too much, but he lets me know, you just, like, I want to talk him to death. But for me, I really need to talk about the vision over and over again, and over again. I feel like communication is the number one thing. And I'm just always talking about what our why is. I know he finds it annoying, but I'll be like, what's our plan for our life? You know what I mean? Like, I always say that. Like, I want to be reminded of the vision, of the goal, what we're doing. I like talking about it. And I feel like the more you do that and the more you talk about it, the more it's like you don't lose your why. You don't lose the drive to do what you're doing. You don't get lost in just the daily action. Because I don't know, the vision's just clear, like it's like a picture, and I want it painted for me like at least twice a week so I don't forget, you know what I mean? So I don't start nagging you about things that aren't that important, so that we have disagreements and then we're upset and can't go to an event and be happy, you know what I mean? Because the events that we go to, it relies on us being upbeat and us being, engaging with the clients and the guests, right? So that's why people book us, or that's why people want us specifically to be there. Like, we would get requested, oh, can you two come? Because they think we're a bigger team than we are. It's just me and him right now. But they're like, can we get the two people that were at that last event? Because we're very happy and engaging. So no matter what's going on at home, once we get to that event, we're all bubbly and happy, and you know what I mean? So I feel like communication is key, and just keeping that vision always there. You have to talk about it. You have to.
It's a foundation, right? And I like the fact that you say that, because a lot of times, I can speak from my own personal experience with my ex-husband. We were on different pages. And I think that we had different visions. And so it was kind of lost in transaction. We know what we wanted in the end, but the vision and the way of getting there, like, we lacked that communication, right? And that's something that we discussed after the fact now. That was with my old business. And that was like something that was a huge problem, with the lack of communication. Again, women, we just over communicate. Men are more like, one and go, like, okay, why we talk about this again? It's like, no, because we need to make sure that we're on the same page. And I think there has to be some sort of like middle ground to that, because I know that sometimes I can hear myself, I'm like, oh, I said that you're chatting enough. But then some other times I'm like, no, I don't feel like you understood it 100%. What I started to do, I've had him like reiterate, like, what do you understand that we're doing? He didn't really like that either, but eventually, like, he came to understand why I was doing it. I'm like, I need some sort of like reassurance that you understand that we're on the same page, right? So I think that's part of it, where we tend to repeat ourselves. It's like, okay, I want to make sure. Whereas men are like, I'll take it in and let's just go. So that's great that you guys have awesome communication. The other thing you mentioned is that you guys complement each other. So one thing I was talking to someone else on another live, was accountability and just kind of like recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses and then being accountable for either one. And that's one thing that I think that if you are aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and you know that your partner, your business partner, whoever is complementary to the things that you're weak at, it makes a huge difference, because now this is what I'm responsible for, the things that I'm good at. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at researching, and he's more of the visionary person. So it's like, okay, get the vision, and then we'll work on the execution. And that makes a huge difference, because now that's a team versus if both of you guys were doing the same thing and, bickering over small things, you wouldn't be going anywhere. Yeah. And that's hindrance right there, right? So I like the fact that you guys have that as well. Guys, lots of gems. If you're just joining me now, joining us, you're talking to Mika Jones. She is the owner of DIY Boss and DLUXE Gala, as well as DLUXE Photo Booths. And we're talking about different businesses and working with your partner and just growing your business and doing it for your family. And you talked about keeping in mind your why, right? So I think, again, another thing that a lot of business owners do, we lose sight of why we're doing something. We get so caught up chasing the money or, chasing the popularity, that we lose sight of, okay, why am I actually doing this? Yeah. If you don't know that, you're going to fall off eventually. You're going to be chasing money, and we all know that the chasing money isn't the actual goal. It's like chasing the why. Right? So yeah, you can make $1 million, but if you're blowing it, you're not keeping it, if you're not putting it away for whatever it is that we're working towards, what does that matter? Right. Right? So that makes a huge difference. My computer just went off. Oh, then. All right. So in terms of your businesses, do you have any future? Oh, sorry, no. Strategy. You mentioned earlier when you're launching the photo booths that you initially were doing sponsored events. Let's say sponsored, don't say free, okay? That word free gets me. Anyway, I'm having a free event myself. I shouldn't talk, but you're sponsoring events, and then you said that by doing that, you got some bookings out of it. So I think a lot of people, if you can explain a little bit deeper the strategy behind that, because a lot of times people don't really understand why you sponsor or do giveaways and certain things. Can you kind of explain why you went with that strategy and like how it helped you for people who just...
So, well, the first thing, because we didn't really know how to get it out there, right? Because again, it's kind of saturated. Like there's tons of photo booths in the GTA, and some of them are very well known. Some of them are amazing. They do amazing work, right? So it's like, well, why would somebody hire us? Do you know what I mean? Brand new. We don't have any content. Do you know what I mean? So when you don't have any content, the key is to get content, right? You can't get content without doing an event. So it was like, okay, well, we need to get content. And this goes for any business, in my opinion, whether you're selling a physical product, whether it's a website. I've done this with every business I've had. And you could call it influencer marketing if that's the type of business you're in. But for us with the events, it was like, okay, we need to do sponsored events. We need to do a giveaway, and pick somebody based on, or pick people based on who we're trying to target. So at the time when we first started, we're like, okay, we want to do luxury weddings. And you really have to be strategic. And when I tell you, you need to like really put in the work. And I feel like people don't understand. They just think they can post on Instagram and business is going to come. It doesn't work like that. Or you're going to tell family and friends and they're going to book you. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have that type of family and friends where they're just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to book you $500 or $1,000. I don't have that type of network, right? So for us, it was really starting from zero. Nobody knew we were doing it. We didn't put our faces out there. We didn't tell people in the beginning because we just kind of wanted to, just put our heads down and do it without any negativity, because sometimes the closest people to you could be the most negative, right? So we put it out there on social media, but what I did is I piggybacked off of other things that were happening within the industry. So that's why market research is so important, because at the time that we first started, and I was like, okay, we're going to do a giveaway. I'm like, how do I get people to enter the giveaway? Because I don't know if you know, like this has happened to you, but I've run giveaways for a whole $1,000 website and crickets. Nobody enters the giveaway. I've done that many times, right? And I've had clients that have done the same thing. They're giving away free products, nothing. Free consultation, nothing. You know what I mean? So the thing was, how am I going to get people to enter this giveaway? So I was like, okay, I can collaborate with, you know, a client. A client of mine had a huge following. So I was thinking, yes, we're going to collaborate, and then I'm going to get all these entries. And it didn't work like that. It didn't happen the way I planned, because their audience, I guess, is not necessarily the audience that I thought it was. Do you know what I mean? Just because somebody has, you know, 100,000 followers doesn't mean that's a buying audience, or an audience that's necessarily going to be interested in what you have to offer, right? So that didn't really yield much results. So what I ended up doing is, there was a bridal show happening. So we're like, okay, well, maybe we should go to the bridal show. So I went to the bridal show. Maybe we could talk to brides there. That didn't work. And then I realized, wait a minute, they're having giveaways for the bridal show. And those giveaways are getting lots of engagement. And I tell people this with every business: piggyback off of other people's audience, period. Okay, so they had an audience, a very engaged audience. It's the biggest bridal show in Canada, and it was happening at the same time that we just got started. So there's brides that are actively, you know, engaging with their posts for giveaways. So I was like, hold on, they have 100 entries for this giveaway. So I just went to all their giveaway posts, and I engaged with every single person. I followed them, like, because a lot of brides, they're private, they're just regular people, right? It's not a business, they're just regular people that are on Instagram to, you know, poke around or whatever. So they don't have a page where it's like I can just slide in their DM and talk to them or anything like that, right? I had to really like be strategic about it and be like, okay, let me click on this bride. I'm going to add her. So they have to go and look at my page, because their profile's private, right? So sometimes that's a good thing. It's private, perfect. I want you add. So that's what I did. They came to the page, saw I was having a giveaway, and they entered the giveaway. That's what happened, basically. So we got like, what, 60 something entries. That's the most entries I've ever gotten for any giveaway combined. Okay. With all the giveaways I've done over the 15 years as an entrepreneur, this was the most successful one, and it was because of the legwork that I did. And then with that, we picked 4 brides. So we picked an African wedding, we picked an Indian wedding, we picked a Caucasian wedding, I don't know if it's about to pick, and then we picked a Guyanese wedding, right? So with our first one, it was the African wedding. And that one was the one where we showed out, did an experience. We even got a custom guest book, even though they didn't request that. So we gave them all the bells and whistles. So even though the giveaway was for the bare minimum, we showed up and showed out because we wanted the content, right? So she didn't even know we were going to get a custom guest book done. The guest book was like $150, okay? Then there's our service. Then we did prints on top of that. And again, she's not paying for any of this. So we really, you know, had to say, you know, if we're going to create content and come out, we want it to be like, wow, you know what I mean? We want to show them all the things we offer. We're not going to wait for somebody to book us. We're going to be like, no, we're going to put it out there. People don't need to know that this was free. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to know, right? So we got the custom guest book, we got all this thing, and then we got content, and then we were able to post that, right? And then from that, we did another one, and then, well, again, that one we got booked the next week. So we did a wedding because they loved the experience. They're like, wow, this is so amazing. So they booked us for another wedding the next week. And then after that, we got booked for another wedding. And then we got booked for their church. So like it just snowballed. And that was from one wedding, one free event, right? So you really have to you have to invest time and sometimes money. You know what I mean? You know, the saying, scared money don't make no money. You know what I mean? You can't be stingy. You know what I mean? If you want to be a luxury brand and you want to be a high-end brand, you need to put forth that same energy into your own brand. You get what I'm saying? People often want to be some big-time $5,000 coach, or they want to have $5,000 lesson, but then they don't want to, you know, put that same amount of energy into, and not to say that you even have the money to do that, but you have to be willing to put that same energy in. You know what I mean? If you are a cheap person, and this is hard for me because I'm a cheap person, girl. Like I'm cheap. I want a discount.
Economically smart is what I say. Economically smart.
Thank you. I am budget conscious. Okay. I am frugal. Whatever you want to call it. But like, you know, you don't want your brand to look cheap. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing for me to have, that's a mindset thing, right? And I feel like a lot of us have this mindset of, you know, but being budget conscious, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to your brand, especially if you have a high ticket item, you cannot come off as cheap. You just can't. You get what I'm saying? Like you have, and I've seen this over and over again. People have, you know, this $30 bottle and then the label is tacky as hell. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not buying it. I'm just not going to. Do you get what I'm saying? Invest in the $1 label. Yes, you can get the 15-cent label, right? But then you want to charge $30. If you charge $30, put the $1 label on the package. Do you get what I'm saying? So little things like that. You have to think about the return on the investment. Do you know what I mean? And it goes for anything. I feel like even real estate, you know how people say you have to want to sell your home, you know, stage the home. Do you know what I'm saying? You want top dollar, stage the home. So it's not just, it's any industry that you're in. If you want top dollar, stage the product accordingly. And then you will attract the top dollar payers, you know? So, yeah, that's, thank you. No frills versus long goals, period. Okay. And people will pay the prices if the branding is on point. You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm a web designer. I do branding. So that's really important to me. And I feel like because our branding was super on point and the service and the thing we provide, it was super on point. Because even you questioned our price, I think, when I told you how expensive it was. You're like, oh.
I did. But you're getting your bookings and you targeted, that's the thing, you targeted your audience, right? So I've seen the lesser costing ones, but you provide a lot more than those people. And I like the fact that you said that you gave them all the no frills, right? You overexceeded their expectations. They thought they were gonna get basic, but then you visually upsold them. So going back to real estate, think about like when you're buying a house, they have the model home. The model home, I remember when I was buying my first house and we went to the model home and they said, okay, you know, you get like $20,000 worth of upgrades. And like everything we saw in there, we're like, oh, is this a sink we're getting? Like, oh no, that's an upgrade.
Right.
That's an upgrade. That's $20,000 upgrade. Went out the window because they only showed us all the upgrades. None of the basic stuff were there. So of course you're seeing that. You're like, no, I want that. I want that time. I want that thing. I want that time. I want those. You know, and then by the time we're done, I think like we doubled. We doubled the amount of upgrades you wanted because it was in our face. So when you brought the bulk and you're like, okay, it's gonna cost us $150, which is a write-off to your business. Hello to my. So I'm telling you guys, like even my services, it's a write-off, but a lot of people don't understand that whole concept. You're investing in the business. It's part of marketing. I did this to be able to get more clients. So whatever that cost you in the beginning, you got three or four events from the one.
Exactly.
You made your money back and then some. And now you're exposed now to 4 other events that now 100 more people at each event is going to see you at. Right? So guys, and I love the fact that you get this, and I know you get it because you brand your own business, you know. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't get that concept, right? But they spent the $15,000 buying the photo booth. And now they're like, oh, I don't want to spend any more money. You know, and they sit there. It's like, no, clients are going to come and find you because you have to be up there competing with other people who've been doing it way before you. You have to show people what makes you different, right? Why are you charging double the price of anybody else? Well, this is the experience I'm giving you. So everything you did, super strategic. Okay, guys, it's all about strategy, right? Tamika's here dropping a whole bunch of gems on marketing and strategy. Sorry, my mom is frying something. It got really loud. Mom, do you mind? Yeah. So you know, you have to be strategic in everything that you do, and that starts off with your marketing. Okay, you had a plan. You said, okay, we want to come out differently. It's going to cost us more because I'm pretty sure you spent a lot more money on your photo booth than anybody else did. So now you're like, well, we can't target the what do you say? The hamburger clients who want les mignons. Okay, how do we get les mignons? You have to ask yourself these questions and think about it first. You had a plan. You had an entire plan of how you're going to go about this. And I love the fact that you said you didn't just go and like sponsor any type of events. You looked at the events that you wanted to. And I love that's a smart idea. You went to the bridal show because they're already looking. They're already looking. You show them that I have something that you want that you didn't even know you need. I have it right here for you. So super strategic. When I used to do my decor business, that's what I did too. So I went to a bridal show and I had the bride and the king and queen chairs at the time, and I had that on display. And that was, you have to enter into a contest to say that to see if you can win them for your wedding. I think I had about 20 people enter in. It was a small bridal show, and all 20 people won the chair. And what I ended
Exactly.
up doing at the end, because I'm talking to them, I think I got like 4 bookings for a full wedding out of it, right? So I didn't make all 20 of them. I called like 10 of them, and
Yeah,
I told the other ones they can get 50% off. That's what I did. Yeah. So
exactly.
yeah, that's what I did. So because you have the information is key. I keep talking to you guys about email marketing.
Hmm.
People are sleeping on that big
Yep,
time. You can assume that you made a post today that all your followers saw it. They
exactly.
probably didn't. But if you collect information, and that's another thing too with your photo booth is super key, is that you're collecting information because now I have to put in my information to get my photos. Now you've captured that. So next time you have another product, you have a new release of another photo booth, or you're expanding where you're servicing your service area, you now have all the information to send it out so that even if I'm in Toronto and now you're servicing Hamilton, I can say to my sister in Hamilton, hey, there's a photo booth for your event, your birthday party coming up. People sleep on that so often,
So
but like
often.
so
Yeah,
often, and it's super easy because it's like it's not costing you anything, and you already
exactly.
have the interaction. Just capture the information and hang on to it with your life,
Hmm.
right? So,
And you
guys,
know, one thing, before I started to cut
okay.
you off, but one thing I feel like really sucks when it comes to entrepreneurs, and I'm calling my own self out too. So don't come for me. I'm like this too.
Yeah.
But we sometimes are like penny pinching with marketing, advertising, getting help, getting the mentor, and all these things, right? But I feel like, think about like years back, and it wasn't even that long ago. In order to market your business, you had to pay for like a ad space on TV, or you had to pay for a radio thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you really had to, when it came to marketing, you really had to invest large sums of money. Now it's like we have so many options, whether it's, to hire a coach, or to, what's it called, to do Instagram marketing, or, you know what I mean, to do email marketing. There's so many free ways. And it's like, I get so much pushback with clients about these free ways. It's like, we're so spoiled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That like, we don't want to spend any money at all to market our businesses. And it's like, you look at these big businesses, they're spending tens of thousands of dollars to market their business. And we're here thinking we're going to get on their level and we can't even spend $100. You know what I'm
right?
saying? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like you have to spend the money. Do you know what I mean? And I know it may be hard. Get your coins together. Keep your day job if you need to. Get the little part-time job and leave it when you got the money saved up. You know how many times I've gone back to the workplace, got my little paychecks, and then came right back out and invested. You know what I'm saying? Do what you have to do. Like don't be stingy with your business. And I feel like, I remember you did this post, and I was like, listen, that is so dead on about Caravana, okay? How people
Yeah.
spend all this money on Caravana. And I see it all the time. I see it all the time. And then when it comes to their business, something that is going to give them a return on their investments, they will spend money on a week, $500 on a week. And I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking you. Do what you want to do. Self-care is the thing. We all need to do the things we want to do. But I feel like, where are your priorities? If you're serious about your business, you gotta sacrifice the nails. You know how long I never got my nails done? You know what I mean? There was a period of time my nails were looking crusty, right? I get my nails done, like very seldom do I get my nails done, just because, it's like, okay, I can spend the $60 or $80 on my nails, or I can buy this thing for my business. I can get that acrylic sign to put on the table that's $80, and it's gonna make my business level up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like the priorities they're just all over the place. Like if it's something where it's like you need to hire somebody to do something for you, there's so many areas in your business where it's like, if you just invest a little here, invest a little there, it'll make your life easier. And people just are so stingy with their business, and it makes no sense. But then they will spend money going out, they will spend money going to Starbucks, they will spend money on nails, on hair, on clothes, on Caravana, on clothing, on events. Do you get what I'm saying? Like all these things you're spending money on, clearly the business ain't the priority. It's just not. You know what I mean? So I'm a strong believer in, like, you gotta cut you got to cut other things, period, and spend the money where it needs to go. And it's been so hard for me to do that myself. But you know, it is what you got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like pinching the pencil. Okay, let me put the money, you know, like I don't want to, but I know I need to. So I'm going to, it's going to help our business grow. Do you know what I mean? So you just got to bite the bullet. It's a mindset thing, you know, but I love that post that you did about the Caravana, because it's just like, guys, the amount I've never participated in Caravana. Yeah, no, no, I can't wrap my brain around spending that much money on that. You know what I mean? I'd much rather spend it in my business. And even when it comes to like gifts and things like that, listen, with my partner, when it's my birthday or it's Christmas or whatever, I'm asking, can you buy me this course? Can you buy me, I swear to you, can you buy me this course? I can either get that. And back in the day, it was the $1,000 jacket when my priorities weren't, you know, all the way there. Oh yeah, I want that Macache jacket or that. Da, da, da. And then at some point, it's just like, you know,
I love that.
You get the jacket, you get the purse, but then what? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What? The purse is empty. So no, like, no, get me the course, get me the course. Okay, the course is $1,000. You know, but it's going to help me do X, Y, Z. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Can you get me this for my business? Can you get me that for my business? You know what I mean? I feel like we really need to just shift that, you know, like, let's not ask for bags and clothes and this and that. Like, we can hold on to, you know, hold on to that for later. You get what I'm saying? Because if you get your business running the right way, you can buy your own clothes and bags and shoes and things.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like you said, it's that vision, right? It's about staying in line with that vision, keeping that vision in mind. Like you said, a lot of people don't want to spend the money and invest in their own business. I get many people call me and then also kind of talk to you quickly. It's always a quick call, and it's like, yeah, you can book one. I end up making, like, my consultations are always an hour, and I end up making a consultation called the quick call, because everyone wanted to have a quick call, and quick call turned into, you know, an hour-long phone call, and it's like, guys, you have to invest. That's my actual business, so you need to invest into your business as well to talk to me. Like, I'm a nice person. Like, you know, if it is a quick question, I'm usually pretty open. But it's like when it gets out of line now, it's like now you're you know, you're taking it a bit too far. And people do that, but it's like, I done see your Caravana last week playing Frontline, and when I checked Coldplay, I didn't know how much Frontline costs. Okay, so you didn't free the money to go and get Frontline last week. I don't understand. I don't understand. But, you know, that's where you have to keep your priorities and vision in place. Not to say you shouldn't have fun, right? I think that, I know I said the word balance, but it's like nothing's ever balanced for real, like you said, right? But I try and believe in, like, you don't want to, like, make yourself haggard and just, like, be stuck working all the time and it never come up for air. You know, if you see my stories, like, I try to plan something. I know a lot of people and get invited out quite a bit. Most of the things I'm not really paying for, but I try to keep a balance in terms of, like, what I'm doing, right? Because I don't want to be 100% over. I did that before, and it is exhausting, especially in the beginning. You do put in a lot more work, but that's when you start growing. You say, okay, let me delegate. Let me ask for help. Who can help me? I talk about this book all the time. Do not how, right? A lot of times, because we're so focused on, I want to keep the money. I don't want to pay someone. I want to buy this course. I don't want to pay for a consultation. I don't want to pay for these programs. You end up doing it yourself, and you start pinching with yourself, but then you are not sleeping. You're overworking yourself. You're getting overwhelmed, and you're just mashing up yourself overall. You don't have a life outside of work, and it's like, what's the point? Seriously, what's the point? Yes, you can be stacking money, but it's like, what are you really stacking if you have no life outside of that? Right? So it's one thing to have a vision, to have a plan, to execute that plan, to have your priorities in place, and then at some point you expand, you grow, right? So, you know, guys, it's really, really important to find, there's a lot of comments. Sorry, guys, to find the balance as much as you can. I do good and pop up, but I'm struggling on the social media platform. Social media, you know, guys, it's free, but it's also, like, the consistency. You guys see, like, I struggle. I know everybody, like, I get people compliment me all the time. So you always do videos, and I'm like, I'm tired. It is exhausting. There are ways of doing it in a structured way so that you're not making. I don't make those videos every day. If you notice, like, the last few videos, I'm wearing the same thing because I did everything in one day, and I'm like, I'm not gonna bother with the one outfit and just record everything one time. Everybody knows I have clothes, so it's like I can't be bothered with that whole change clothes thing. I did that. It was too much. So ways of going about it, but social media,
think about it. Anything that's free is not really for free. So you can pay for ads, right? And ads, yeah, you know, you'll get the view from there. But if you want the free platform, that is where you have to put the work in, because everybody else is using the free platform as well. Right.
Yeah.
So like the fact that you had a different strategy where like, okay, I'm going to use my platform, but I'm also going to go and target out and seek out the clients that I want. Did you guys hear that? Tamika said she went and she sought out the clients that she wanted. She knew that she was bringing out her photo booth and it was going to be luxury. It's going to be high end price. So she knew that I have to go and find these high end paying clients. Right. So that's huge. A lot of people miss that. Right. So Tamika, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Tamika, is there anything in closing that you can say to the audience about running a business and multiple businesses, or about being a mother and trying to balance as much as you can? Is there anything in closing that you can say to the audience? And also tell everyone where they can find you as well if they want to get in contact with you to book your services.
Yeah, I would say give yourself grace, you know, like you can't, it's not always going to work out the way you plan. Don't stress out over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done with like stressing out. You know what I mean? Things don't happen the way they're supposed to. I have my little, you know, and then I just like woosah and like let it go, you know, because I feel like sometimes we can just pile on the negativity. You know what I mean? If something doesn't go the way it's like you planned for it to go, or something's not working out, just let it go. You know what I'm saying? Just let it go and keep going, you know, like just breathe. So that's one thing that I've realized that I'm still working on, that I need to do, because I feel like once you start getting anxious and once you start getting stressed out, you just bring more anxiety. You attract more anxiety, more stress, more negativity. So if something goes wrong, have your moment and toss the moment away and keep going and be happy and be grateful for what you do have, you know, because I believe in the law of attraction. I believe that, you know, if you put out negativity, you get back negativity. So be as positive as you possibly can, no matter what the situation. You know what I mean? My partner's good with that. Like, all hell can be breaking loose. And he's like, oh, that's okay. And I'm just like, what? You know what I mean? So I think I'm learning from him, like, you know, there's no point in stressing over things because it already happened. It's done. Keep it moving. Be positive, be happy, just keep going, because the more you're happy, the more you're grateful, the more you know, you feel like you're blessed for the things that you have, the more blessings you get. So I would say that's like number one. And then I would say networking. Networking is key. Networking, whether you do it online or whether you do it in person, networking. And she's having a networking event. I'm going to be there. I think yours is sold out, so as soon as you lose, stay tuned for the next one. And I just started networking because of this photo booth, to be honest, because I'm a hobbit. I stay at home, but I've realized the importance of getting out and networking. So if there's a networking event and you feel like, oh, you know, that seems like the community of people I want to be around, get out there. Because when I tell you the amount of support that we get from people we don't even know, like when it came to our event, there were people that traveled from Shelburne and Barrie and Mississauga and all these places that it's like, and I don't even know you. Do you know what I mean? And it's because I was able to network with them online. And then after that, after our event, we continued to see each other at networking events. So now it's like we've built a relationship. Like, it's like, oh, hey, Ebony. Like, I've been seeing you every week because I'm at these events, you know what I mean? So it's like you start to develop relationships, and then they start mentioning your names in rooms that you're not in. You know what I'm saying? And that's really important. What's the saying? Your net worth is as big as your network, or something like that. Get out. Go to networking events. And I've never been the one to be like, oh, I'm going to go to a network. No, I never was interested in networking events. They looked fun, but you know, the typical networking events is like people are just handing out business cards. You know what I mean? Go to the networking events where it's like yours, network and chill. Or not working. Is that what's called? Network and chill?
Network and chill, yes.
And there's games and there's things happening. Do you know what I mean? So you're able to like develop real relationships with people, you know? So get out and go to these networking events. There's so many that I want to attend now that I've actually started going to good ones. It's like, okay, and now I have my own. So it's like, okay, I'm into this now. I get it. I didn't get it before, but I get it now. So really get out there, because you will be blown away by how many connections you can make and how many people, you know, will support you that you didn't even know, you know? So get out there there, go to networking events. Shameless plug, May 13th, make sure you're at my networking events, okay? All right.
Yep.
It's going to be fun.
DLUXE Gala part 2, okay?
Part
May
2.
13th. You have an awesome lineup.
Yep. And we're going to just keep it going and keep having them. So stay tuned. Follow me on DLUXE Gala. I've been posting every day on that. So that's a big deal, posting every day. That's a challenge for me. It's a challenge that Jasmine Lee is doing. She's a real estate agent, and she just has us posting every day. And if we don't post, we have to pay $10. So I'm not trying to pay $10 because, girl, you know, I'm on a budget, you know, so
Yeah.
every day, girl. It's been 15 days straight. So I'm very active on that, but I'm also on DIY Boss and DLUXE Photo Booths, of course. So those are the three main places you can reach me. My DMs are always open. I'm not a gatekeeper. If you have a question, feel free to ask. I'm an open book. So is Sue, by the way. You can book a consultation with her because she knows her stuff, okay? Sue knows business for real, for real. That's not just a name. She really does.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Tamika. And yes, guys, we will be having the confidence building workshop. Tamika's going to be there with her awesome photo booth. I can't wait. You know, I love a picture. So can't wait to get inside. I've seen all the experiences that people have been posting, and it looks amazing. So I can't wait to experience that. We are going to be having this confidence building workshop, and it's for anybody who has difficulties with being online. If you lack being comfortable with video or talking. I used to have a lot of issues, and then I got over it, and I just started doing it. And so now, as you guys probably know, I do it all the time. And you just have to step outside your comfort zone. So we're going to be having that workshop this Sunday. Jasmine Lee's going to be there, and Tamika's going to be there. Big Girl Interrupt is going to be there. Krishy, we're going to be doing reels. So I'm actually going to have the attendees make a reel. 2 reels actually, okay? So if you miss this one, there may or may not be a next one in the future. We'll see, okay? It won't be for free, I'll tell you that much.
Right? Period.
Okay, one free event. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited to see you, Tamika, and to experience the photo booth. And thank you so much for all the gems that you were dropping. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today. I'm excited to see all of this. And yes, guys, go and follow Tamika. I dropped in one of them here. Yes, and I'll post it after, okay? So go and follow her, support. She is an open book. She has a wealth of knowledge, as you can see. Yes, so thank you guys so much. And for those of you guys who are coming on Sunday, I'll see you on Sunday. And I hope you have an awesome evening. So tomorrow, there will not be any Let's Talk Business, okay? It's my cousin's birthday. I have to be there or else she'll cuss me. So that is it for the weekend. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Tamika. Have you guys a night. I don't know what I'm saying. Have a good night.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.